Direct from the Six, world-renowned, Canada's largest city, with Canada's biggest thinkers, visionaries, and hustlers. This is Startup Talk, featuring the founders, funders, innovators, and community leaders who've led Canada's startup ecosystem right here in Toronto. You'll hear the challenges, the failures, the successes. Toronto's Startup Podcast gives you the full story direct from the entrepreneurs and influencers who've made a difference. Now, the host of Startup Talk, the founder of TorontoStarts, the Startup Coach.
I want to jump into a question that was just hot, and I know you are mostly marketing people, not necessarily salespeople, but I wanted to weigh in this one thing. I posted an article today about selling at networking events and talking to people and identifying whether they're in your target audience or not quickly, and then moving on if they're not. And I got a lot of pushback from chief marketing officers. My friend Trevor here saying, no, you got to take your time, have those longer conversations. You never know when someone's going to lead you to another client, etc. I just wanted to know what have this group weigh in on that situation. Would you advise someone to have much longer conversations or try and get in and find as many clients as possible?
I think the answer is it depends. I don't think there's a one size fits all for networking events. Sometimes you meet people in a sales opportunity and, hey, we're in the business of closing deals. That's why we go out at night and, spend time away from our families to make a living. So if you can sell, and there's lots of opportunities just to meet people, make connections, and you never know where those things lead. It could be friendships, it could be sales, it could be clients. But yeah, I think that, it's kind of like, you just see where the wind blows and you go with it. But I don't think there's a hard and fast rule for networking events. That would be unrealistic.
Fair enough. Daniel?
I've never bought from anyone who sold directly at a networking event, and I've also never successfully sold. So I would say that, like Mark said, it's about relationship building. And as excited as you may be about the perfect fit, the client to the perfect demographic and all that, wait till you're home and had a chance to reconnect with them and maybe schedule a call or ask if they're at least looking for those services through a LinkedIn message or email. So I think it's about connections. And I'll also add that I've met people at networking events that have worked with me a year later just because we stayed connected, right? And I didn't try to make a sale, but maybe they weren't even ready at that time from what I had to offer, right? So similar to Mark's answer, but that's what I would say.
Naima?
I think for me, because I've done so much networking over the years, I kind of have a different experience. For me, it's always been, if I go to a networking event and I know that the people there are looking to learn about marketing, typically I have been able to successfully sell to them, but also in situations where I've gone to networking events, specifically to learn about wealth management, for example, because I was curious about, how does this work? People have been successful at selling to me. So yeah, I find that I think if you go just like online, how we always tell people to go with the targeting and, try to connect with the people that, match your ideal audience. Similar to that, I found more success when I went to very specific networking events versus in the beginning when I used to just go to a networking event and try my best because I didn't have any guidance. So that's my thought.
And I am a fan of all of those things. On most networking events, I don't have anything to sell, so I'm just making relationships, connecting people. I got free events like this going on. If anything got to sell, come to my networking event, but those tickets are really inexpensive, so it's not really, I guess I'm selling those things at some point, come to my networking event. But on the side note, I also suggest you exchange contact information immediately. Hey, because you're at a networking event, exchange right away because it's harder late in the conversation because something else might be interrupt or whatever. And all those interactions you can follow up with. So I'm not suggesting you tell people to piss off or whatever, but you kind of get to the point, you sell the specific products to technical people, and this person is a food person, and they're not interested in any of your technical stuff. Great. You can make that contact and then you know who they are, but I would move on.
Yeah, Craig, I think we should call it a spade here. We're always selling, regardless of where we're at.
Absolutely.
There's soft selling and then there's the hard sales. And I think it sounds like the people on this panel, we're soft sellers. We're just talking to people. We're having a conversation. We're trying to, people buy things because they like you and they trust you. And the best way to make that happen is just be yourself. And maybe they buy right away. Maybe they buy 6 months from now. I think, the parallel activities, all the content that we're writing on LinkedIn, everyone's saying, I want to provide value. I want to provide insight. What we're doing is they're just advertisements. We're just selling by just pointing at us saying, look, we're smart people, work for smart companies. You should buy from us. So, to think that networking is anything else than a sales event, I mean, if I had to be really blunt about it, it's a little bit misguided.
Absolutely. I think maybe I say network marketing, whatever you want to say, getting sales. I'm always looking for mentors, speakers, people to interview. So it's not always about trying to eventually get a client. I'm trying to build the network bigger and bigger. But as far as I'm concerned, the bigger the network, odds are the more likely I'm going to get clients. So it's all part of the same game. Final words over to you, Mark. And where can people find you, contact you, reach out for you to find out more?
LinkedIn for sure. Write a lot of content on LinkedIn. I guess that's going to drive my SEO if Niema's words are on the ball. Just look for Mark Evans or Mark Evans Fractional CMO. And my website is marketingspark.co.
And do you have any events coming up that you want to talk about?
I should be doing better marketing myself.
Okay.
But,
I just didn't want to forget anything.
No, that's it. That's it for now.
Niema?
That's funny, Mark. By you being present here, that's marketing enough.
Yeah, there you go. Thanks, Craig, for that. You're my event coordinator.
Fabulous. I also find that when I first popped in here, I saw that Mark had his name, but also his company name on the bottom. So I really like that. So I went back and did that. So he knows what he's doing there. For me, I would say my last words would be just thank you for having me here, Craig. Craig mentioned his events. I honestly love startup events, and I would say that you can find me at the next one that's happening this Thursday. So if you come there, I'll be there. And of course, you can search up my name, Social Sherpa, on YouTube. And if you feel so kind, or if you just want to learn more about social selling, you'll see a playlist there that teaches you every single step of social selling. So if that's something that you want to use for bootstrap marketing, it's there. So again, YouTube, Social Sherpa.
Yeah, stop playing on social and start selling. Trevor?
Oh, well, I'm glad that I actually was able to finally get through to this. I got to figure out what's going on with my computer, but I'm really happy that we were able to do this. I have a sales strategy workshop coming up next week with you, Craig, actually. Absolutely. Thank you very much for doing that. And you can find me at marketinggeniushq.ca. That's pretty much about it for me. I mean, the one takeaway that I have for everybody who's listening, figure out who it is you want to talk to, because once you figure that out, then you can figure out the best messaging that's going to work for them.
Fantastic. And Danielle?
Important one for sure. I will add to that, if you're speaking to everyone, you're resonating with no one. So that's important. I have a series of workshops coming up that are more so for social purpose businesses and organizations. So I have a few coming up basically every Monday. So you can check that out. My page is called The Good Growth Company. We have a free series online, different topics. And like I said, content that actually speaks to your audience, but then has a purpose. Don't just put out content for the sake of it. Think of the intention behind all of your content as a startup, but try to invest in your own personal brand, because thought leadership, you can't ignore it. A lot of people don't like to put themselves out there, but if you're a founder, invest in your own content, not just your startup's content. So that's where I'll leave you all tonight. Thank you for having us, Craig.
That's great advice. When we did the investor session last week, we had Graham Barlow on, and he suggested that when you start building your personal brand first, market everything as your personal brand, because if you sell or leave the company, you still have that personal brand rather than having to start from scratch again. So great advice, Daniel. All right, TorontoStarts.com for everything else that we do. StartupDrinksTO.com for startup investor drinks. All those links will be wherever you're watching this, in the show notes or in the podcast. And links to everyone here's LinkedIn, and whatever links they're going to send me tonight or tomorrow morning, I will include in all the show notes. What I'm going to do, thank you everyone for attending. I'm going to break this up into several sessions for the podcast. And a few different videos, as well as one big long video that'll go on our YouTube channel, and I'll send everyone the links for that. Thank you everyone for attending.
Thank you.
Thanks everyone for watching. This has been great, and we'll talk to you all soon.
This has been Startup Talk, Toronto's startup podcast. For more exclusive content, the episode vault, and to be part of Toronto Starts community, visit TorontoStarts.com. Get your name on the newsletter mailing list and check out our upcoming events. For more episodes, subscribe now. And please recognize the time and work behind the scenes put into connecting you with the biggest visionaries, entrepreneurs, and innovators in Toronto by leaving a 5-star review. Join us for more next episode from Toronto's most active entrepreneur and startup community on Startup Talk.